What's up, guys? Coming up pretty soon, I want to do another answer record week. I got some more good, fun, obscure ones picked out that you probably never heard of, but they're answer records to records that you probably have heard of. So, that's what kind of makes it fun. But before I get too deep into that, because, you get into some kind of silly, obscure, goofy kind of stuff, I want to make sure I touch base here with a video before all of that on just a good, solid, dope record. So it's not just all craziness coming out of my channel. Here's something I actually recommend. This is something you really should listen to, not just because it's wacky, but because it's dope. So I'm going to talk about today Freak L. This is his record right here, Slammin from 1987. He actually had two singles. This is his first one. I sometimes see him kind of written off or put on a list with like LL Cool J knockoffs, and I think that's pretty unfair. I think a lot of it really just sort of comes from the fact that he's got the L in his name too. Compared to, he sounds more like LL Cool J than Houdini or something. He's in that camp with guys like Tila Rock and, Mikey D and that sort of thing. Jewel T or something, but he doesn't sound particularly like LL Cool J. I don't think he's really particularly using his style. He's just sort of a kind of a New York hardcore MC over dope beats in the late 80s, in a solo act. But beyond that, he's really not particularly LL-ish at all. He's just Freak L. He's kind of different. He's not boldly unique by any stretch. He's sort of very easily fits into the slot of like a classic typical New York MC, but he's dope. I mean, let's face it, that's kind of the problem I think we got later on as hip-hop got more and more mainstream. You had more major labels trying to get, artists with their sort of unique gimmicks onto the scene, is that everybody sort of had to distinguish themselves by being crazy and unique and have gimmicks and all this, and started getting further and further removed from the classics. And sometimes you just want a pure, dope, hardcore, typical MC, right? And that's really what Freak L is. But A, he's got some nice skills. B, he's got some great production. He's produced actually by Vandy C and Bill Blast. Well, mostly Vandy C. I've actually done a blog or a vlog, I forget which, on Vandy C and Bill Blast before on their record with Dr. Ice, Do the Wop. And they basically only had one other record, this one right here on Select Records. But they're both dope, but also they're both producers who did other stuff. And again, mainly I think Vandy C. I think Vandy C and Bill Blast had a radio show together for a little while again in the late 80s in New York, and they did these records together. But I think Vandy C is mostly the man behind the music and the production. And he did some production for guys like Kid Flash, their own records, Vandy C, and of course Freak L, and one or two other acts. Definitely, again, just in the kind of the late 80s New York stuff. So he's a producer here. He might even be the DJ too. Both of them, Vandy C and Bill Blast, get name dropped on both tracks on this 12-inch because there's a B-side as well. And by the way, if you're looking at this, looks kind of funky. This is a test pressing, but there's nothing like particularly special or unique or fancy about it. Like there's no bonus remix or anything that's only on the test pressing. It just happens that my copy is a test pressing. Normally has a more standard urban rock label. So you can see it's just got a sticker with the track listing on there and a stamp for the record label, and that's it. The official version had actually proper labels. Yes, this is on Urban Rock Records. You can tell from the sleeve, if not from the label, which is actually a pretty dope underground New York label that did a lot of really kind of hot but slept on stuff. They had like the Dismasters, they had Lady Supreme, who I already mentioned, they had the DBL Posse, they had Majestic, and of course they had Freak L. So a lot of kind of really dope stuff. It's definitely one of those labels, if you see it, you know it's good. Except, I should warn you, however, that they didn't do strictly hip-hop, So if you see something like Cousin Ice in the crates, don't grab that or you're going to be disappointed. It's not all rap, but when it is rap, it's dope. So of course I'm going to play clips, but really, what Freak L is straightforward, pure dope hip-hop. Just, he's got a nice flow, he's got some nice rhymes, nothing too complicated though, he's just basically rapping about rapping. Great production, lots of samples from James Brown, that sort of stuff. A little bit of scratching mixed in there, but it's definitely not like a scratch-heavy record. It's definitely just about beats and rhymes. There's a little bit of a hook. It's pretty minimal. It's almost just kind of a short break between each verse, which really fills up the record. And then the B-side is Buggin' in the Crib, which is pretty much more the same thing. It is a little bit more lighthearted, like the title implies. You got a little bit of that from Larry's dance theme, kind of mixed in there on the hook. Or, I guess, younger listeners might associate it more with Larry. That's what they call me, by Larry Liar, but of course it's the Grandmaster Flash originally. So it's got those kind of crazy sounds mixed in there and lots more like kind of samples, and it's a little bit more broken up. But it's like, again, just Freak L basically freestyling over some dope beats. Slammin is the better of the two tracks, but both are really hot. Like this is one of those records you see kind of pop up on a mixtape by those DJs who kind of specialize in tracking down the more obscure stuff, and you're like, oh wow, never heard of this, never heard of that, and I'm really excited about all these things. This is the kind of guy who would show up on there for sure. And there's just the one version of the song. There's also an instrumental and acapella of Slammin', which is pretty cool because, for 1987, an acapella was pretty unique. And there's nothing for Buggin' in the Crib except for the song itself. Freak L did have one more record, also on Urban Rock Records in 1988, but unfortunately that's it, which is a shame. he definitely, I think, if he had more of a push, would have gotten, like a lot of guys I covered, I don't think it would have been like a big mainstream, Beastie Boy success because he's kind of a regular guy MC. He doesn't have a real gimmick to sell him, but he has dope beats, great rhymes. Definitely if he had an album, if he had a couple more singles, they all would have sold pretty well. It's more, I think, just that urban rock didn't really have the push to keep doing more stuff with Freak Out or any of their other acts, because Dismasters, everybody, they all kind of came and went after a couple singles. Dismasters at least had an album. Freak Out just had the 2 singles, both of which I recommend. But here we go. This is the first one again from 1987, Slammin', followed by Buggin' in the Crib.
So you can observe and keep eyeing this while I get gas, beam up with Getty, slow and steady. The L's ready for a destruction. And introduction as we proceed with the flow of this production. Since my deduction of this eruption, hip hop hard, follow the instructions, beat it and heat it. You're gonna need it or beat it. And if not, compete it or seat it. If you don't think you can meet it, sit back, relax, reread it. Poetry and elements, drilling with boys, and you might like to get right and make noise. Slam and elevate, that is my intention. And not to mention the L's invention from big stage, suits for any age. As I engage in a breathless outrage like I'll be starving for a microphone. That's just to get busy and go to hell hole while your head be swelling, yelling and telling all your friends about the man they call Ellen. Name rings a bell in, try to be spelling the name on a label of the new hit that's selling hard, doing my job and no shorting. I'm not some phony MC that be sporting other folks' rhymes and styles like it's alright just to cold, get busy and rock the mic. And that's me, Earth slamming, make me want to start Son of Slamming. They keep jamming, goddammit, you didn't even know I'm slamming. I'm taking my time and reciting it, so I don't have to go back and keep writing it over again, breaking the pen, finish it, then begin to comprehend. Yo, let's do this. My name is MC Freak Al, and I'm in the crib with my man, Grand Wizard, the type of hyper, be the viper, man to see, really do my man, Brother Dog, and my man Bill Black, he's on his way upstairs, and we can really do a wild thing, and have a little fun, you know what I'm saying? Cold rock stuff. You know the L's conversational, bust the meaning, screaming on the scene like Scotty keeps beaming, all disciples up with Piper, as I relax and enjoy my rifle place that is rocking with the scratching balls, and it's like a bet that I win if I toss a coin, don't matter, heads or tails, it's joy, the beat boy, then rail that, it's planned, completing the task, doing it fast, then I surpass other opponents in just a moment, condition the mission so that they listen, I don't it, wax and simonize, no need to dramatize, I think it's plain to see, I'm no common size MC figure, cause I hit the strum, the microphone abrupt, then erupt, just like a volcano when I'm on the move. No demonstration necessary to prove, cause it's all done statistical. It's not too difficult, just like the girls I expose it scientifically. With lyricism, then sometimes even practicing technique and breathing. Also imposed, it's like voice exercises, just to be sure that there be no criticizing. The L, the competitor, song I edit word, letter for letter, well, composing better per hour, I scour, time I devour, just to make the hype stuff rock prouder. Young folks, old folks, new and improved, bust the move. The L grooves up to the top, and then I descend. You know the L's rocking again, bugging in the crib. Oh man, it's like bugging in the crib like this. Cold rock stuff. Dude, you know what? I show you like a you know, dude? It's like awesome, dude. Awesome. Get some